Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to break down the 10-game NBA main slate on Friday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA and NFL slates on Draftkings. Before we get into the video, though, I want to thank you guys again for the continued support. Closing in right now on 7.6 thousand subscribers. Really do appreciate each and every one of you guys. If you enjoy this content, if you leave a like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't upload videos. You know when I go live. That would be very helpful. If you guys cannot watch these videos, I do upload on Apple Podcasts. I have a link down below. If you're interested in signing up for premium content, now offer that on patreon.com. A couple different packages. You guys can check it out. If you have any questions, let me know. And then finally, I want to thank PrizePicks for sponsoring the show. And if you guys are not familiar with PrizePicks, it's a site where you can bet on basically fantasy projections, right? So fantasy points. So for example, tonight, right, Luka and Nikola Jokic are both at 51.5 fantasy points. Do you think they score over or under that? That's basically the idea. Again, you can mix sports too. You can play NFL, NBA, college football. If you guys want to sign up, you can use the code DKDFS. DKDFS, all one word, also linked down below. You get a 100% match up to $100. So basically, if you put $100 in, you get a free $100 to play with, so $200 total. But with that all out of the way, let's jump in the video. Before we talk about players and their prices for this 10-game slate, let's look back at my lineup here from Thursday. So Thursday, the Bruce Brown tilt is real. Only played 18 minutes. I mean, he was pretty popular in this turn. He's about 60% owned. Looking back on it, was Bruce Brown a bad play? No, right? Not at all. He played 23 minutes the last game in a blowout. So I was expecting high 20s minutes. He just didn't have it tonight. They went a different direction. So sure, yeah, it's a little bit tilting. But I don't think that was necessarily a bad play. Just the Nets value is a little bit tricky to nail down always, like with Jeff Green and Taurean Prince and Bruce Brown and TLC. You never really feel good about anyone. Like normally, like at least a few of those guys will get you there, but one will bust. Unfortunately, landed on the bust there in Bruce Brown. But again, saving grace is he was really popular tonight. So, and then LeVert, I thought he was the easiest play of the day. Taurean Prince was one of those guys who went for value, and then Drummond and CD Osman went with CD because we got that news that Colin Sexton was out like a few minutes before lock. So yeah, I pivoted to get CD in. He's had not done much in the second half. He had a really nice first half, so hoping he can pick it up in the next 5 minutes. And yeah, I went Drummond. I took the risk. He's currently at 41 right now with about 5 minutes to go. So we'll see how it finishes. And then finish it up basically with the Minnesota-Portland stack with Lillard, Beasley, and Nurkic. So my original lineup, I had Hernan Gomez and D'Angelo Russell, but pivoted to get CD Osman in. So again, hoping he can get me like 35 to 40 there in the last 5 minutes. But that's basically it for the look back, guys. So hope you guys had a good night, and let's see if we can keep it rolling here for this 10-game slate. I should probably refresh Bovada. That would be a good idea. All right, so let's go to the start of tomorrow. So we have Suns, we have Pistons. It's a 218.5 over under. The Suns are 6.5 point favorites. Hornets, Pelicans, the 217 over under. The Pelicans are 6 point favorites. Thunder, Knicks, it's a 208.5 over under. The Knicks are 2.5 point favorites. Magic and Rockets, it's a 227.5 over under. The Rockets are 5.5 point favorites. And Jazz, Bucks, a 231.5 over under. The Bucks are 6 point favorites. So let's go position by position here. And we will start with Giannis Antetokounmpo at 10.9K. In a tougher matchup, I think he's an interesting GPP play. I mean, this game probably will stay competitive, so you should see mid-30s minutes from Giannis. The positives with Giannis are, again, he's playing more minutes this year. And Budenholzer said there he's going to get more minutes. Him, Middleton. So, like, in close games, we've seen mid to high 30s in minutes from Giannis, which we really didn't see last year at all, right? He was a guy that was playing 31 and 32 minutes a game. So, I think Giannis is actually a solid spend up here. I think he goes overlooked because people see the Utah matchup and avoid him. But if we get like 38 minutes out of Giannis Antetokounmpo, again, he has 70 fantasy point upside in any single matchup he has. Now the Lakers, guys, I love the matchup for them here against the Bulls. It's just a matter of will this game stay competitive? This game probably has a chance to blow out, but if the Bulls can keep it close, I think one or both of LeBron or AD will have a really nice game. So like those both the Lakers. Again, a little bit worried though about possible blowout. Julius Randle at 9.8. I mean, it feels like a lot to pay for him. It does, but he's basically playing 40-plus minutes a night. He's stuffing the stat sheet, getting assists, rebounds, block steals, scoring the ball. I like the matchup for him against OKC, a younger team. So I think Randall, even at 9.8K, is viable here. Again, it feels like a lot. It does, but I think he's firmly in play. Vucevic at 9K, I also like here. Kind of had an off game there against the Cavs, only 35 fantasy points. Like the matchup a lot for him. Wood is questionable. Either way, like Wood and Boogie are not good defenders. So Vucevic could have a sneaky good game here, and he always goes overlooked. Always goes overlooked in these slates. So Vooch, I am intrigued by. Again, got to keep an eye on Christian Wood. If he plays, not a ton of interest. If he's out, obviously Boogie is one of the top plays of this slate. The two Pelicans guys in Zion and Brandon Ingram, I like them. Again, it's a good matchup. Both should play, 35 plus minutes. Zion's had 43 in back-to-back nights. Again, I'm not really scared of Charlotte defensively. This game probably will stay close. So both those New Orleans guys look pretty decent. DeAndre Ayton's at 7.6. He's just the minutes, right? He's played 38 minutes like once. Other than that, he's hovering around like the high 20s to 30-minute mark. It's just not great. I know he's been in foul trouble. He probably will play 35 or so minutes if he can stay out of foul trouble and the game stays close. So an interesting contrarian play. Again, I like the matchup from there against Detroit. Other options is the Memphis. This Memphis team is just not giving their stars a lot of minutes, like JV and Kyle Anderson and Dylan Brooks. They're all playing under 30 minutes, even in close games. So not a ton of interest there. Let's see. Other options, Mr. Cash Games. Or Mr. Cash Game, I should say, about 30 minutes. And hey, he had a ceiling. We finally saw the ceiling game from Steven Adams. Normally, he's a guy again that hovers around the 25 to 35 fantasy point mark. He had a triple-double. That is definitely an outlier. Like 10 assists for Steven Adams. You are not going to see that again. Again, fine cash game play, but not a priority. Rashawn Holmes, got to keep an eye on this. Could be some value here. It's going to be interesting to see what happens if he's out. Do they start Whiteside? Do they move Marvin Bagley to 5? We'll see. Also got to monitor De'Aaron Fox's status. Could be some good value here for the Kings. So that's something to keep an eye on for sure. Let's see. Blake Griffin, I think at this point in his career, just kind of washed. Just not really looking like aggressive at all offensively. It's 6K is just, I still don't even know if I want to do it. Bagley at 5.9, so he finally had a big game the last time out. I got him at super low ownership, and he was kind of just a last piece in my lineup. If Rashawn Holmes is out, interested to see what they do. Like, do they move Bagley to the 5? Do they move Whiteside in? We'll see. If Bagley starts at the 5, would make him a little bit more viable, and would probably expect a few more minutes for him. Now, PJ Washington's a guy that, when he stays out of foul trouble, plays about mid-30s minutes. So he played 38 minutes that last game at 36 fantasy points. And even though the Pelicans are playing slow, they're not a great defensive team. So I have interest in PJ. The price could come up a bit, but if he can stay out of foul trouble, he's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet, right? So I think he's definitely a play there in the mid-range. Mitchell Robinson, I think he played, 41 minutes that last game. I don't know if we can expect that again, because he was a guy hovering in like the mid-20s minutes. So if I knew he was going to play over 40 minutes again, then I would really like him. But will we get over 40 again? Probably not. Don't mind Brandon Clark at 5.6. I mean, he's the guy that I think I like the best point per dollar for these Grizzlies. I mean, should play about 30 minutes. I think he's a decent option. Al Horford, so I know he's kind of been bad this year, but this is kind of a buy low opportunity. Right now he's at 5.4. So he's not going to play huge minutes. Should play, I would say, anywhere from like 27 to 30 in a close game. But I like the matchup here for the Knicks. Again, price is down. I think he's a nice buy low candidate here. Definitely have some interest there in Horford. Bobby Portis is just doing Bobby Portis things. He's a guy that has a ton of upside when he's getting it going at a double-double last game against Detroit. Minutes are a little up and down, but he's been playing, more even in competitive games. So sure, I don't love the matchup for him, but he's just an aggressive player on the offensive end, has some upside for sure. Let's see, Draymond Green. So Steph Curry is also questionable for this game. Got to keep an eye on that. If Steph doesn't play, little worried this game doesn't stay close, but then you might see more point Draymond. And if we get point Draymond at 5-1 in about 30 minutes if the game stays close, he could be a viable option. The Boogeyman, he was the easiest play of the day the last slate. Now, did only play 23 minutes, so it wasn't really in much foul trouble. So I don't think he's going to play huge minutes if this game stays close. But I would expect if Wood is out, we get about mid-20s minutes for Boogie. And he's just a really good point per minute guy, right? So, like, if we get like 25-ish minutes from Boogie, I think he is, again, one of the better plays of the day at that price. If stay out of foul trouble, not get ejected, right? Because you always got to consider that with Boogie Cousins. So possibly some value here with Boston. Tristan Thompson and Robert Williams are questionable. If they're both out, Daniel Tice, I think, becomes one of the best value plays at 4.3K. I just think that would be too cheap in a good matchup. Probably would push for 30 minutes. So, yeah, I think Daniel Tice would look like a really nice value option. Again, assuming we get Thompson and Robert Williams out. But that's something to keep an eye on. Both of them are questionable. Let's see. Other options at center. Where is Hassan Whiteside? So, Kings don't love giving him minutes. But, I mean, if they start him at center, I think he's one of the easiest value plays of the day. He's just a great point per minute guy. So, something to keep an eye on. Again, if Richaun Holmes is out, do they move Bagley to the 5? Do they move Whiteside in the starting lineup? We'll see. Either way, like if Whiteside doesn't start, I think he'll be in the rotation. I mean, I guess they could run like small ball, be elites at the 5. We'll see. They haven't really been huge on giving Whiteside a lot of minutes, which is a little bit worrisome. But if Richaun Holmes is out and he starts, I think he's one of the best values on the board. And that's it. Nerlens Noel is at 3-2. Again, he's questionable. If he is out, I think that's the reason why Mitchell Robinson played that many minutes. Now, they did sign Taj Gibson. I'm not sure if he'll be available for this one, so that'll be something to keep an eye on, right? If Taj isn't available and Nerlens Noel is out, you probably get some big minutes out of Mitchell Robinson if he can, in fact, stay out of foul trouble. All right, let's move on to power forward. So, mentioned AD and Giannis. Talked about Randall. Again, KD is still out. I think earliest he can come back is Sunday, I believe. Yeah, Sunday. So he will not be there. Ingram at 8-5. I mean, he's just playing big minutes. 35 to 40 minutes a night. He's a guy that's doing a lot, getting assists and rebounds. I like the matchup for him. I think he's once again firmly in play, and he hasn't really been that popular. Don't mind running back with Hayward. Now, the issue I have is you're paying a premium for Gordon Hayward. I don't really love paying premiums for guys. He did just have that big game, shot the ball well. But now we're getting him at 8-4, $1,000 price hike. Again, he can still get you there. He's gotten 40-plus fantasy points a couple times already this season. But like I said, it's never a great feeling like paying a premium for a guy. So you could play them both together, but probably would give the edge to Ingram there over Gordon Hayward if you made me pick. Let's see. Aaron Gordon at 6-6. Only did play 27 minutes the last game. We're still not seeing the huge minutes from him. I think he's a viable play. If he was playing 35 minutes tonight, I would like him a lot more. Let's see. I mean, you guys know I'm a big Darius Bazley fan. I said he was going to have a breakout year at the beginning of the year, and we're seeing it, right? 41, 35, and 43 fantasy points. He's rebounding the ball at a nice pace. Basically averaging a double-double the last 3 games. I like the matchup for him. I think he gets, low to mid-30s minutes in a close game. I like Darius Bazley here at 6.2K, and I don't think he's going to be super popular. Let's see, if we're scrolling down the power forward, there's not a ton I love here. Those Clippers guys with everyone healthy now are kind of just stayaways. Saddiq Bey, can we just talk about this? Can we just talk about this? When he's chalk without Blake Griffin, 13 fantasy points in 31 minutes. When no one plays him and Blake Griffin is healthy, 43 fantasy points in 24 minutes. Cool, Saddiq Bey. Not tilted at all about that. All right, scrolling down more. Again, talked about Tice. Think could be one of the better value plays if those Boston guys are out. Then we have the Brooklyn value with Jeff Green, Taurean Prince, assuming Kyrie is out. Now, neither really played huge minutes, but I think we would probably get somewhere around 20 to 25 from both these guys, and it is a good matchup. So yeah, they're in play for value. The issue I have with those Brooklyn guys is just they have a deep rotation still. So they can use TLC. They can use Harris off the bench, who had a really good shooting game tonight. They can use Landry Shamet. They have a lot of guys they can use that if one of those guys aren't playing well, the minutes will be cut. Kind of like we saw with Bruce Brown tonight, right? So that is always the risk with those Brooklyn value plays. Other options, yeah, that's probably it for me. Did Caboclo? I don't think he played that last game, did he? Was that one? No, he did not play. I was going to say, interesting to see if Wood is out. Does he play at all in the backup 5? Because, Orlando is a bigger team. I still don't. Probably not. All right, let's move on to small forward. So, yeah, LeBron, same thing I'll say about AD. Love the matchup for him. It's just a matter of, do you think Chicago keeps it close? Now, the Clippers, guys, again, got to keep an eye on Steph. If Steph doesn't play, I'm pretty worried this game does not stay competitive. So that's something to keep an eye on. If Steph does play, would have a little more confidence in guys like Kawhi and Paul George in a good matchup. The Boston guys with Tatum and Brown, I like the spot for them. We do have a decent amount of guys up in the air for Boston. More of the value guys, but if all those guys are out, they have like 4 guys up in the air. If they're all out, I mean, we're going to see probably close to 40 minutes from both these guys in a good matchup. So I think both of them are firmly in play there at the top. Karis LeVert, I think if Kyrie is out, he's one of the best plays at that price. Probably plays mid-30s minutes in a close game. Love the matchup for him. So yeah, really do like LeVert if in fact Kyrie Irving does not play. Other options, scrolling down a bit, let's see. Again, Joe Harris, you can go back to the well here. I don't hate it. But he also shot the ball really well. I forget what he finished shooting, but he was shooting lights out. So, yes, you can go back here. He should probably get 30-ish minutes. He's a decent rebounder, but again, does have a somewhat low floor if he's not hitting shots. Right, against Boston, 11 fantasy points. Against Charlotte, 17 fantasy points. So, that is a risk. Now, he will have to do a little bit more offensively if Kyrie is out. But I'm just a little bit worried ownership might be way up after that big game. I'm not saying he's a bad play, but I would just, pump the brakes a little bit with him. Wouldn't expect him to shoot that well again. I mean, he's a good shooter, but it can happen. Like, the upside is there. But, again, kind of reliant on scoring. Scrolling down a bit. Josh Hart. So J.J. Redick is questionable. He played 28 minutes. Again, he's like an okay value play. We'll talk about NAW, who actually does intrigue me if JJ is out because he played some decent minutes at last game. Scrolling down a bit more. Yeah, I mean, I know Dwayne Bacon had a decent shooting game, but I just don't want to play him. I don't think we have to do it on this slate. Can talk about the Brooklyn value. There's not a ton I love here. Again, a lot of those Boston guys are like questionable, so could be some minutes there for Boston. If like all those guys are out, let's go to Boston really quick. And then we can move on to shooting guard. It's a Boston. We have Thompson, Teague, Robert Williams, Grant Williams, and Green all questionable. If they're all out, they're going to have a pretty thin roster, right? It would be obviously the top 3 guys, plus Pritchard, plus Tice, and then what? This would be 6, 7, 8. They would have like a 9-man rotation if all those guys are out. Honestly, you could maybe talk me into taco season. It could be taco season. If all those bigs are out, I think he would play. And if we get like 15-ish minutes out of Taco Fall, he could be a viable punt, to be honest. Again, that's assuming all these guys are out. All right, let's move on to, let's see, we're on small forward, right? Yeah. I think we run through this. Yeah, Josh Hart, small forward. Okay. Let's move on to shooting guards. So, James Harden, 11K, secondary option in a tougher matchup. Would rather get to Wall. I'd rather play Boogie if Wood is out. So, yeah, not a priority for me. Now, Brad Beal had this amazing shooting game. Shot the ball 35 times. Had 60 real-life points. Now, Westbrook's status is up in the air. So, if Russell Westbrook is out, then I actually do have interest in Brad Beal. But price came up. Matchup's not really the best here. And he also shot the ball really, really well. So, but again, if Westbrook is out, I think he's firmly in play at the top. Paul George, same thing I'll say about Kawhi. Levine, so if I'm playing either LeBron or AD, I think I'd run it back with one of the Bulls guards. Whether that be Levine or Kobe White, like if they're going to stay competitive in this game, it's going to be because of one of those Bulls guards. So that's kind of just a tip for roster construction. Again, Devin Booker just not having a great year. Van Fleet and Lowry are always safe plays. Don't mind them in a decent matchup there. Scrolling down a bit more, let's see. I mean, with Bledsoe and Lonzo, these guys are just tough to trust on like a big slate. Usually one of them will have a good game, but they just take turns. Both have, honestly, kind of a somewhat low floor. Now, Therese Halliburton at 5'4", I think is firmly in play if De'Aaron Fox is out. If De'Aaron Fox is out and Halliburton starts at point guard, I think he's a nice play at this price. The last game in Chicago had almost 50 fantasy points when Fox went down. Again, he's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet, so probably wouldn't expect 45 again for him, and this is a tougher spot. But if he starts a point and the game says close, I would say over 30 minutes. Again, the fact that he can stuff a stat sheet, I think he is definitely a play there at that price. Cole Anthony at 5K, also have interest in him in the mid-range. Now, with Markelle Fultz out for the year, Cole Anthony is going to step into the starting point guard role. And he played 32 minutes. Wasn't great. Honestly, was not great. But this is a good matchup against Houston. He should start and probably play 30 to 35 minutes. I think he is definitely in play in the mid-range as well. So possibly some value there again with guys like Anthony and Halliburton if, in fact, some injuries go our way. Let's see. Other options. I mean, DeLon Wright started at point guard for no Killian Hayes. Was terrible. I mean, he probably gets somewhere around 20 to 25 minutes, but hard to feel really, really good about it. Austin Rivers had a nice game. I mean, the Knicks are just really shorthanded. He's played 33 and 32 minutes, so if everyone is out once again for the Knicks, I think he's a viable punt. You don't feel amazing about it, but the minutes have been there for him recently. Again, Bruce Brown, right, was a chalk bust tonight. It's just, right, he played 23 minutes. That first game was on pace for more. Tonight he only played 18, so obviously that's a little bit tilting. Hard to feel good about any of the Brooklyn value, but like I said, probably at least one or two of these guys will have a nice game if Kyrie Irving is once again out. Now, Raul Neto at 3.9. If Russell Westbrook is out, I think he makes for a pretty solid value play, so that'll be something to keep an eye on. And then scrolling down a bit more, I think that's it. Oh, NAW is the last guy I want to mention. So when JJ Redick went down, NAW played 27 minutes in a competitive game. And you guys know I love NAW. He's a good point per minute guy. If we get like 20 plus minutes from him at almost min price, I have some interest here. So that's dependent on JJ Redick news, but if he's out, I think we can definitely punt with a guy like NAW. All right, that's it for shooting guard. So let's finish up with point guard. Again, Westbrook, if he plays, I think he's just a safe play. No matter the matchup, Russell Westbrook is going to play about 40 minutes a night, and he's going to stuff the stat sheet. And he's going to get a ton of shots up. So sure, even in that game where Brad Beal shot the ball 35 times, Westbrook still shot 18 and still had 56 fantasy points when Beal went crazy. So even in a bad matchup, I just think Russell Westbrook is in play every single night. If he's going to stay around this low 10K range, yeah, he's in play every night. Steph Curry, again, got to monitor this. If he is in fact out, Draymond becomes a decent play in the mid-range. Again, would be worried about the blowout, and then would have to consider value guys like Brad Wanamaker. Brad Wanamaker chalk, that never fails us, right, guys? So possibly some value here. Wanamaker, Damian Lee probably plays a little bit more. Kent Bazemore. I mean, I kind of want to throw up even mentioning their names, but that would be some value there if Steph is out. Again, would be worried that game does not stay competitive. Again, Fox, not really interested in him in that matchup, but if he is out, Halliburton becomes a nice play. John Wall at 8K. Now he's getting priced about right? In the low 7K range, that was too cheap. He should be like an 8.5K player. The matchup's not the best. Would prefer him still, though, to James Harden. SGA at 7.8. The price went up a little bit on him, but I like the matchup. Him and Bazley are my favorite plays in the Thunder. Don't even mind buying low on a guy like Al Horford. He had 50 the last game. Did have 5 steals. Again, a little bit more of an outlier. But I think SGA is in play on the slate. Let's see. Other options, kind of scrolling down more in the mid-range now. LaMelo Ball, so did only play 24 minutes in that last game. That was a close game. So that was my worry with LaMelo Ball, right? I was like, we've seen a lot of blowouts. We've seen a lot of Devontae Graham shooting like 5% from the field. What happens when the game stays close? Well, he did only play 24 minutes. So a little bit worrisome, but he's playing really well. He's at over 30 the last 4 games. So 6'5", he is definitely viable. Alfred Payton, the minutes are a little up and down in him, right? They're more consistent guys like Randall and RJ Barrett. 34, then 29 when he shot the ball terribly, then 42. So how many minutes do we get from Alfred Payton is up in the air. If I knew he was going to play close to 40, I would like him a lot in the mid-range. But again, some variance with the minutes. It makes him a little bit riskier. More mid-range guys. I mean, the Hornets guards like Rozier and Devontae Graham have both. I mean, can we talk about how bad Devontae Graham is shooting this year? It is actually insane. 4 of 13, 4 of 16, 5 of 15, 3 of 8, 1 of 10, 1 of 10, 5 of 13, 2 of 14. He shot the ball 2 of 14 and still put up 34 fantasy points. I will still mention it, but we have not got the game yet where he shoots well. When we get a good Devontae Graham shooting game and he plays 35 plus minutes, he will absolutely smash his price. It's just, when are we going to get that game from him? He has literally shot the ball terribly. D Rose expected to play at 5'8". Again, he's always in play for GPPs. Scrolling down a bit, if all those Boston guys are out that I mentioned, like Peyton Pritchard probably gets more minutes just because they'd be really thin. Even with Marcus Smart playing, I think he could push for like mid-20s minutes. So yeah, it would be like an okay value play there. Again, assuming Teague would be out. Finishing up here, any more value plays? I mean, Kojo probably gets a little extra one, but would definitely prefer Halliburton, even though he's more expensive. And Wanamaker, right? So, like, let's go to Golden State really quick. I don't want to talk about it, but we have to. If Steph Curry is out, obviously the blowout risk increases. Do I want to mention his name or do I not? I don't know if I want to. But if Steph Curry is out, he might be playable. And same thing with Oubre, right? These guys have to do a lot, and Draymond, right? Because, I mean, who's going to score the ball for this team if Steph is out? It's like those three would have to do a lot more of the heavy lifting. But really the value guys were kind of be what I would look. So like Wanamaker, Damian Lee, Kent Bazemore. I know it's gross, but these are potential value plays if, in fact, Steph Curry is out. But yeah, that's going to do it for the video today, guys. So if you have been enjoying the content so far, I would really appreciate it if you leave a like button on the video, to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't want to upload videos, you don't want to go live. As always, again, we'll be doing a live stream on YouTube to go over everything, answer you guys' questions. So thanks again. I really do appreciate the support, guys, and I will see you all tomorrow in the live stream.